saying Australia is right. What I'm saying is it's different. And this is just where they've gone and how they're doing it. Some of it's useful, some of it you can throw away. But there are quite a few things on there in terms of how schools have managed inclusion policy, how schools have managed disengaged students, especially boys. The gender issues in schools, truancy, behaviour, huge amounts of resources on there which are well worth looking into. So, personal experiences then. One of the things that I was heavily involved in with being in a sports college was raising achievement at a school which was in a grammar borough, which is an 11+ exam in some of the counties in the UK where if you pass, you get a high of 11, you take an exam. If you pass it, you go to a grammar school. It's a lovely Victorian system. And if you fail it, you've failed before you've even started secondary education. It's wonderful. So we get 800 kids come through the door, and they've all failed to get to us. It's magic. It's wonderful. Welcome, you failed. Come on in. So when they come, and they've got a bit of a chip on their shoulder at times. They failed to go. Some of them really wanted to go to grammar school. Some of them didn't even bother taking the exams because their self-esteem was that low. And that's where we started, dealing with kids and making them feel they belong somewhere. The school had pretty average attendance rate, to be fair, and with the senior management team and some great teachers. And you can only be as good as the teachers that are working with you. And they were fantastic and still are. They still are doing a great job. But we picked up, through being a sports college, an initiative called QISA. And it came back through the fact we were a sports college, we get invited to a different range of conferences, and you get different funding to actually go and do this. And basically it started on the premise that it was about students aspiring to their best. And there needed to be stepping stones and foundations in them doing this. So we went from about high 70s attendance average in school, pretty mediocre exam results, to well over 85% attendance after 18 months, and exam results just went through the roof. Not because of one simple thing, but because of a whole school focus. If we look at the first three, which were the sort of foundations of what we did, belonging, curiosity, creativity, and heroes. Actually, no, that wasn't the first three. Belonging, heroes, and sense of accomplishment I'm going to talk about. Those are the first three items we addressed in the school. The first people we spoke to were the kids, not the staff. The kids then came and delivered a training session to the staff in PD. And so the focus was the kids started driving the school. And you picked on the kids you knew were a bit of a menace. You know, the kids who are not really achieving academically, who you know could be real drivers with something, given the opportunity and given the chance. So we had a mixture of kids who teachers thought, I don't want them in my class, to the really great kids who you knew were the completer finishers who got stuff done. But they came and trained the staff on what it was, on the material that we went through with them on what it was to be a hero. And heroes is about modelling the behaviour you want. I think if you've ever been to a behaviour management seminar or training, you know if you want to impact change, first you've got to change yourself. Well, that was the whole point about this. It was changing staff and the way they practiced. And that's been an ongoing thing in education in the UK, is the focus on how we practice. Right from, we had staff sitting in their classrooms with the kids leading lessons, and the staff had to feel what it was like to be a student. When was the last time we did that? It's a weird feeling. You sit there, you look around your classroom, and you go, I don't want to sit here. It's horrible. So we changed the whole way the classroom feels. I now walk into a classroom, if I see a teacher's desk at the front, I hate it. It's wrong. The teacher's desk should be at the front. That is the forum where you facilitate learning. That doesn't mean the teacher should be at the front. Everybody could be. And it's about students being engaged in learning by being given the opportunity to drive what is happening. Within physical education, we do a lot about leadership. We brought that into the classroom where students started to be subject leaders. So they'd actually start delivering the lesson. They'd actually plan and deliver a lesson to other students. And you'd set them up in small groups at first and deliver to small groups and then to whole school students. And it just went through the roof. The kids absolutely loved the fact that we were given this responsibility. Our poorest attenders started coming to school. Students started working with other students who had fallen behind because they felt empowered. School councils, student leaders, they even ran playground activities for each other. We then started going down into primary schools and running activities for primary school students with senior school students. The whole buddy school systems thing. And it was all about relationships. It was all about building relationships and making them feel they belonged to an institution. It became their school. I could go on for hours about this because it took years. But fundamentally, that was the biggest change we had. Was actually students coming who felt they belonged to this place and took pride in what they did. Ofsted liked it too. So that was quite good. The men in suits came in with instead of I think I've run out of time. Right, where am I now? Right now, I'm just finished my first year teaching at the ACE programme, which is a joint venture with Salvation Army in YOS and Everton Park State High School. We started with 5 students last January. Weren't quite sure whether we were going to get any more. We've now got 16, I think, sat in the classroom, hopefully behaving themselves with a supply teacher. I'm not sure if I want to go back. But it's been a gradual process. Last year was a huge learning curve for me. My background was in behaviour management in mainstream school. I used to go around and teach teachers how to control a class, or how to change their behaviour so a class actually wanted to go with them rather than fight against them. So to then go to the sharp end and work with these students was a bit of a shock to me. I used to be 6'7" and had bright blonde hair. The year's taken its toll. But this year it's been a really good year to come back to. The kids are completely different people, all from having the opportunity to have someone who actually gives the damn back. And credit to them, they wanted to make that change. And as much as they annoy me, and they do that every day, there's some really good kids in there who finally got a little bit of a chance to prove they can achieve. And standing at the graduation, which was just before Christmas, and seeing how smart these so-called disaffected kids were, was unbelievable. And I think everybody who was there will sort of agree that they were just superb. And their faces, fantastic. And I happened to be privileged to see that young lady who gave such a wonderful speech at the beginning receive her certificates, which was a big thing.